Very good morning. My name is Komal from BSc second year Chemistry Honors. I am reading Physical Chemistry chapters of Distribution Law for visual impaired student. Let's start the chapters. Distribution Law. Introductions of the Distribution Law is that it is observed that when a solid or a liquid is added to a mixture of two individual liquids, in both of which it is soluble, iodine to a mixture of carbon disulfide and water of succinic acid to a mixture of ether and water. It disturbs itself between the two liquids in such a manner that the ratio of concentration of the substance in two liquids is always constant at constant temperature. This observation made by the Berthelot and Jungfleisch in 1872, however, it was pointed out by the Nernst in 1891 that the ratio of the concentration is constant only when the solute has the same molecular weight, the molecular state. In the both the solvent and the generalization was put in a proper form by Nernst and is called Nernst distribution law. It states as a solute means solid or liquid, distributes itself between the two immeasurable solvent in such a way that the ratio of concentration of the solute in the two liquid solvent is constant at constant temperature. Independent of the pressure, any other molecule species provide that the solute has the same molecular state in both the solvents. Thus, if a solute X distributes itself between the two immeasurable solvents A and B, them of X remain in the same molecular state in both the solvents. We will have concentration of X solvent A upon B, concentration of X solvent B is equal to C1 upon C2 and also is equal to K constant. The constant K is called distribution coefficient or partition coefficient to test the validity of the law या फिर verify the law experimentally. Different amount of a solution of iodine may be added to a mixture of waters and carbon tetrachlorides or CS2 taken in different bottles. These are the seconds and allowed to stand. In no volume of each layer is pipetted out and then titrated against hypo solution to find out the concentration of iodine. Similarly, experiment may be performed with other solute and immeasurable solvent. A few results of some earlier experiment are given in the table on the next page. With a gram of iodine, 10 ml of CS2 have C1 1.74 and S2 have C2 0.0041 and K can find them so out a result is 420. So now conditions under which distribution law is valid. The distribution law is valid only if the following conditions are satisfied. The temperature must remain constant throughout the experiment. The liquids, means solvents, should be mutually immiscible. The amount of solute added should be small. The solution should be dilute. This is essential because it contains cases. The solute added affect the mutual solubility of the solvent. The solute must have the same molecular state in both the solvent. It should not undergo association or dissociation in any of the solvent or combination with any of the solvent. Thus, the law is not valid for the distribution of benzoic acid between water and benzene because it has been observed that in benzene benzoic acid undergo association to form dimers. It exists as C6H3COOH2 form. Similarly, law is also not valid for the distribution of any electrolyte like HCl acid between water and a non-polar solvent like benzene, CS2, CCl4, etc. because the electrolyte undergo dissociation in water. Now, thermodynamic derivation of distribution law. The thermodynamic derivation of the distribution law is based upon the principle that if there are two phases in equilibrium, two immiscible solvents contain the same solute dissolved in them, the chemical potential of a substance present in them must be same in both the phases. From thermodynamics, we know that the chemical potentials mu of a substance is solution given by mu is equal to mu naught plus RT ln A, where mu is the standard chemical potential, A is the activity of the substance in the solution. Thus, solute in liquid A, we have mu A is equal to mu naught A plus RT ln A. Similarly, for the solute in liquid B, we have mu B is equal to mu naught B plus RT ln AB. But as already studied, since the liquid A and B are in equilibrium, mu A is equal to mu B. Then at last, RT ln A minus RT ln AB is equal to mu naught B minus mu naught A. Now, ln A upon B is equal to mu naught B minus mu naught A upon RT. Further, at a given temperature, mu naught A and mu naught B are constant for given substance in the particular solvent. Hence, at constant temperature, we have from equation 4. Log A upon AB is equal to constant. Then can also say that CA is equal upon CB is equal to constant. This is exact expression for the distribution law. If the solutions are dilute, the activity are equal to concentration, so the expression is C upon CB is equal to constant. Now, change in the molecular state and distribution flow. As mentioned earlier, Nernst was the first person to point out the distribution law in the form C1 upon C2 is equal to constant is applicable only if the solute remain in the same molecular state in both the solvents. It does not undergo association or dissociation in any of the solvent or combination with any of the solvents. If, however, such change take place in any of the solvent, then the law cannot be applied to the total concentration of the solute in two phases but only to the concentration of identical molecular species in two phases. In each of these cases, the distribution law equation is modified as discussed below for a few simple cases. Case first. When the solute undergo association in one of the solvent. Suppose the solute X remains in the normal molecular state in phase 1, but N molecular of its associate to form complex moleculars Xn in phase 2nd. Then the following two equilibriums will exist simultaneously as shown in figures. X at equilibrium is equal to X phase 1 and in phase 2nd, and X at equilibrium is equal to at equilibrium Xn in phase 2nd. Suppose total concentration of solute X in phase 1 is equal to C1, then the total concentration of solute X in phase 2 C2. Also, suppose alpha is the degree of association of the solute in phase 2nd, then concentration of associating molecule in phase 2nd Xn is equal to 1 upon NC2 alpha. Concentration of unassociation molecule in phase 2nd 1 minus alpha C2. Apply the distribution law to equilibrium, we get concentration of solute X in phase 1 upon concentration of normal molecule of X in phase 2nd is equal to constant. C1 upon 1 minus alpha C2 is equal to constant. Again apply the law of chemical equilibrium to equilibrium. We get concentration of associate molecule in phase 2nd upon concentration normal molecule in phase 2nd constant. 1 upon n C2 alpha upon 1 minus alpha C2 की power n constant. N root we get n root C2 alpha upon 1 minus alpha C2 is equal to constant. At last, when the molecule in phase second are almost completely associated, alpha is equal to 1 and therefore C1 upon n root C2 is equal to constant approx formula. Alternatively, the same result may be obtained in a simple manner as follows. Both concentration of solute X in phase 1 is equal to C1. Concentration of associate molecule in phase second is equal to C2. Concentration of simple molecule in phase second is equal to C3. Applying the distribution law to equilibrium, so we get C1 upon C3 is equal to constant. Again apply the law of chemical equilibrium to equilibrium, we get C2 upon C3 की power n is equal to constant. Taking the nth root of both the sides, we get n root C2 upon C3 is equal to constant. Dividing equation 3 by the equation 4, we get C1 upon n root of C2 is equal to constant, which is the same as derived above. Thus, in such cases when the solute undergo association in one of the solvent, the constant value of the partial coefficient is obtained not for the ratio C1 upon C2 but for the ratio C1 upon n C2. This relationship has been confirmed by the studying the distribution of benzoic acid between water and benzene. The acid estimates mainly as associate molecules in benzene solution. The following results were obtained. We heard the ratio of C1 and C2 shows great variation. The ratio C1 is nearly constant. The formula C1 upon n root of C2 is equal to K is commonly used for the finding the value of n, the exact of complexity of the solute molecule in one of the solvent. This is done by the finding out of concentration C1 and C2 of the solute in two solvents in a number of experiments. The value of n is the calculated experiment. Explain the latter in section. Second case, when the solute undergoes dissociation in one of the solvent. As before, suppose the solute X dissolve in the phase 1 without any change in the molecular state but undergoes dissociation into Y-Z in the phase second. Thus, in showing figures, the following two equilibria will set up. X at equilibrium is equal to X at equilibrium in phase second Y plus Z. Suppose total concentration of solute X in phase 1 is equal to C1 and total concentration of X in phase second is equal to C2. Also suppose the degree of dissociation of solute in the phase second is alpha, then the concentration of undissociation means simple molecule in phase second 1 minus alpha into C2. Apply the distribution law to equilibrium first. C1 upon 1 minus alpha into C2 is equal to K, constant, also called partition coefficient. Note, it is obvious that if the solute undergoes dissociation in phase first but remain normal in phase second, then the formula obtained will be C1 into 1 minus alpha upon C2 is equal to K. Similarly, if the solute undergoes dissociation in both the phases with degree of dissociation is equal to alpha, in each of them the formula will be C1 into 1 minus alpha upon C2, 1 minus alpha is equal to K. From the above expression, the degree of dissociation alpha can be calculated. Case third, when the solute undergoes combinations with one of the solvent. Suppose the solute X remain in the normal molecular state in phase first, but one molecule of it combines with n molecules of the solvent X to form the compound molecule X NH in phase second. Then the show in figures, the following two equilibria will be stabilized. X at equilibrium is equal to X in phase second. X plus NX at equilibrium is X NS in phase second. Suppose concentration of solute X normal molecule in phase 1 C1, concentration of normal molecule in phase second C2, concentration of solvent molecule in phase second Cx. and concentration of compound molecule in phase second is equal to Cc. Apply the distribution law to equilibriums. We get C1 upon C2 is equal to K, and again apply the law of chemical equilibrium to equilibrium. So C upon में C2 into C x की power n is equal to K1. Since the solvent in phase second is present in excess, its concentration remains almost constant in shift of combination with the solute, particularly if the solute is added in small quantity. The solution is dilute, thus C x की power n is constant, and so the equation becomes Cc upon C2 is equal to K1, C x की power n is equal to K2. Another constant. Adding the 1 to the both the side, we get 1 plus में Cc upon C2 is equal to 1 plus K2, और C2 plus में C1 upon C2 is equal to 1 plus K2. Dividing the fifth equation by the seventh, and at least last find C1 upon में C2 plus C is equal to K upon में 1 plus K2. Also it can say K3, another constant. But C1 and C2 is the total concentration of normal as well as the solvent molecule of the solute acts in phase second. Thus, the above equation in fact implies that total concentration of the solute acts in phase 1 upon the total concentration of solute acts in phase second is equal to constant. Hence, we conclude that when the solute enters into chemical combination with one of the solvent, there is no modification of the distribution law equation except that the numerical value of the proportion constant is changed. Application of distribution law. Distribution law has been applied to the study of problems to both theoretical and practical instances, a few of which are briefly discussed below. In calculating the solubility of solute in a solvent, when the two immeasurable solvents are in contact with each other and the solute is added in such a large excess that saturated solutions are formed, then the concentration of solution at the stage will be equal to their solubility. Assuming that the distribution law is applicable for such concentration, we will have C1 upon C2 is equal to X1 upon X2 is equal to K. Concentration C1 is equal to X1 is the solubility of the solvent in solvent 1, solute in solvent 1. Concentration C2 is equal to S2 is solubility of solute in solvent 2. Knowing the distribution coefficient K and the solubility of solute in one of the solvent, that other can be calculated. In studying the extent of association or dissociation of the solute in a solvent, we have already seen that when a solute undergo association in one of the solvent and acts at equilibrium is equal to Xn, in which the total concentration is C2 and has the normal molecular state in second solvent in which its concentration is C1. And then distribution law formula is modified to C1 upon n C1 is equal to K, the distribution coefficient K. From this formula, the value of n can be calculated either by hit and trial method for the logarithmic method as explained below. Hit and trial method, the values of C1 and C2 obtained in different experiment are put in the equation C1 upon n C2 is equal to K. The putting n is equal to 2 and 3, 4, etc. one by one. The value K are calculated to each cases. The number which give constant value K, the correct value of n. Logarithmic method, the formula for finding n is C1 upon n times of n root of C2 is equal to K upon C1 upon C half की power n is equal to K. C1 is equal to C2 की power 1 upon n K. Taking logarithm of both the sides, so log C1 is equal to 1 upon n log C2 plus log K. For to set value of C1, C2 and C1 dash C2 dash, we have log C1 is equal to 1 upon n log C2 plus log K. Another equation is the log C1 dash is equal to 1 upon n log C2 dash plus log K. Subtracting equation second from the first, to then find n is equal to log C2 minus log C2 dash upon me log C1 minus log C1 dash. Hence, N can be calculated. Similarly, when a solute undergoes dissociation in one of the solvent X at equilibrium Y plus Z, in which its total concentration is C2, and hence the same normal molecular state in the solute well second solvent in which concentration is C1, then we have C1 upon C2 1 minus alpha is equal to K, the distribution coefficient. From the formula, the degree of dissociation alpha can be easily calculated. Now, in predicate distribution indicators, it had been seen that iodine distributed itself between CS2 and water with a distribution coefficient equal to 4 hangers towards CS2. Thus, if a weak solution of iodine is to be estimate, then a few drops of CS2 may be added to this solution. As a result, a considerable amount of I2 will pass into CS2 layer and give it a deep violet color. Now the solutions may be titrated against hyposolution till the violet color in CS2 layer disappears. Thus, iodine acts as distribution indicator in this case. In the study of a chemical equilibria leading to the formation of complex ion Ki plus I2 at equilibrium Ki3, Kbr plus Br at equilibrium Kbr3, CuSO4 plus 4NH3 at equilibrium CuNH3 4 times Beckmann's SO4. Distribution law at the determine the equilibrium constant for any of the above equilibrium reactions and help to stabilize the formula of complex ions on the basis of the constancy in the value of the equilibrium constant. As an example, let us consider the first equilibrium reaction. The study of equilibrium involved the following step. First, the solution of iodine is CS2 is shaken with water to find out of distribution coefficient of iodine between water and CS2. Second, a solution of iodine is CS2 of known concentration is shaken with Ki solution, also known concentration. Third, after the distribution of iodine is complete between the two layers, the concentration of iodine left in the CS2 layer is determined by titration against standard hyposolution. The result is the calculate as follows. Suppose the initial concentration of iodine in CS2 is equal to A moles per liter. Initial concentration of Ki solution is equal to B moles per liter. Concentration of I2 left in CS2 layer after distribution is equal to C moles per liter. Distribution coefficient of I2 between water and CS2 is equal to K. As iodines react with Ki, the total concentration of iodines in the aqueous layer is much higher. Obviously, total concentration of I2 is aqueous layer. Initial concentration of I2 in CS2 minus concentration of I2 left in CS2 layer A minus C moles per liter. Concentration of a free I2 in aqueous layer can be calculated by applying distribution law. Concentration of free I2 in aqueous layer upon concentration of I2 in CS2 layer is equal to K distribution coefficient. But concentration of I2 in CS2 layer is equal to C moles per liter. Concentration of free I2 in aqueous layer is equal to Kc moles per liter. Amount of I2 that had combined with Ki is equal to A minus C minus Kc moles per liter and also say D moles per liter. According to reaction Ki plus I2 at equilibrium Ki3, number of moles of I2 combined is equal to number of moles of Ki combined is equal to number of moles Ki3 formed. Concentration of Ki3 in the aqueous layer is equal to D moles per liter. Concentration of Ki2 in aqueous layer is equal to B minus D moles per liter. Concentration of I2 aqueous layer is equal to Kc moles per liter. Substituting these values in the equilibrium law expressed K dash is equal to Ki3 concentration of Ki3 upon concentration of Ki into concentration of I2. The equilibrium constant K can be calculated. Starting with the different initial concentration of iodines and Ki solution, the value of K dash is determined in the each case. If we are constantly in the value of K, confirm the formula of a complex Ki3 or that of the complex ions I-3. Now in the process of accretion. The process of accretions give importance both the laboratory and industry. In the laboratory, the process of obtains used for the removal of dissolved substance from a aqueous solution with the help of organic solvents like ether, chloroform, carbon tetrachloride or benzene. In the industry, the process is used for removal the impurities from the product. Basically, the process involves shaking of aqueous solution of substance which with an organic solvent which is immiscible with the water but in which substance to be extracted in solute. After shaking, the mixture is allowed to stand. Most of substance pass into the organic layer from which the former can be separated out by distilling of the organic solvent. However, in order the process of accretion may be more effective and efficient, the following two conditions must be fulfilled. The value of distribution coefficient of the substance between water in which the substance is already present and the extracting solvent should be greater in favor of the extracting solvent. It is sometimes possible to increase the distribution coefficient artificially by the making the substance less soluble in the aqueous phase. This can be done by the adding some substance which depresses the electrolyte dissociation of the compounds being extracted. Thus, suppose that an organic acid which ionized to a certain extent in the aqueous solution is extracted with ether. If a strong inorganic acid HCl etc. is added to the solution, the hydrogen ion concentration is increased and the ionization of organic acid is reduced because of common ion effect. In the solution, there will be greater amount of undissociation acid and hence the amount extraction will be greater. Similarly, an organic base can be best extracted in the presence of a strong inorganic base. The addition of salt also usually lower the solubility of a organic compound in water, salting out effect and thus increase the distribution coefficient. The whole of extracting solvent available should not be used in one of the lot but if should be used in maximum number of installment that these factors increase the efficiency of the extraction can seen as follows. Suppose X grams of the substance are present in 1 liter of aqueous solution. Also suppose 1 liter of ether is available as the extracting solvent and thus the distribution coefficient of substance between ether and water is 2. Now if whole of the ether is used in one lot and X gram of water of substance extracted into ether, then we will have concentration in ether upon concentration S2 is equal to S upon में 100 upon में x minus x small s upon 1000 is equal to 2. X is equal to 2 upon 3, x is equal to 0.67 times of x. Thus only 67% of the total amount will be extracted in the case again suppose the whole of the ethers in used to installment each of 500 cc. After shaking with first installment of 500 cc, suppose x gram of its substance pass into the layers. Then clearly x1 upon में 500 upon में x minus x1 upon 1000 is equal to 2. x1 is equal to 1 upon 2 times of x is and x1 is equal to 0.5x. Thus 50% of total amount of extraction out in this operation. Therefore, the amount of substance left unextracted x is minus 1/2x is equal to half x. Now 1 liter of aqueous solution containing half x grams of the substance in shaken with the remaining 500 cc of ether. Suppose the amount of acting into ether by this operation is x2 gram, then x2 upon 500 upon में x upon 2 minus x2 complete upon 1000 is equal to 2. So small x2 is equal to 1/4x. Then also can say x2 is equal to 0.25x. 25% of total substance passes into the ethers layer in this operation. Therefore, total amount of the substance accretion is equal to 50 plus 25 is equal to 75%. Thus, when 1 liter of ether is used to equal installment, the percentage accretion will increase from the 66.7 to 75. Similarly, it can be seen that 1 liter of ether is used in 4 equal installments. The accretion increased further to 93.75%. A general formula can be derived which, given the amount of substance left unaccreted after a definite number of operations, for W gram of the substance is present in V ml of the solution made in solvent A. Also suppose the V ml of accreting solvent B is used each time and K is the distribution coefficient of substance between solvent A and B. Now, if W1 grams be the amount of substance left unaccreted in solvent A after the first operations, then concentration in A upon में concentration in B is equal to K. तो K W1 upon में V complete upon में W minus W1 upon small v is equal to K. Then at last W1 is equal to KV upon में V plus KV into W. Again, after the second operation, if W2 gram be the amount of substance left unaccreted in solvent A, so the amount unaccreted is W1 minus W2 gram. Then so W2 is equal to KV upon small v plus KV into W1. Putting the value W1 in equation first, then find KV upon में V plus KV का whole square into W. In general, after n operation, the amount of substance left unaccreted will be Wn is equal to Kv upon V plus Kv की power n into V. In order the accretion may be most efficient, clearly Wn should be smallest possible. This can be so only if the factor Kv upon small v plus Kv की power n is small as possible. Now in this factor, the denominator's V plus Kv is greater than the denominator Kv. Therefore, Kv into V plus Kv is less than 1. Hence, the above factors will be smallest possible when n is the largest possible. So, it follows that the multi-step accretion is more economical than the single-step accretion. Further, from the above equation, it may be seen that Wn times can never be equal to 0. However, large n may be in the other word. Accretion can never be complete. However, large number of accretion may be carried out. Otherwise, also, it is clear that every time the substance left distributes itself between the two solvents, some quantity, however small, must be left accretion. Note: for the purpose of numerical problem, it must be remembered that K is the distribution coefficient of substance between the solvent A already present and accretion solvent B. If K is the given for the distribution of the substance between solvent B and A, the reciprocal of this value should be used in the above equation. The principle of a multi-step accretions hold good for washing the precipitate, whereby the impurity distribution between the liquid and the precipitate. Further, in Frege process of Desilverizations of lead also used in measure of the principle of extraction. Silver is more soluble in zinc than in lead. Zinc is immiscible with molten lead. Thus, when zinc is added to exist ferrous lead, a large quantity of silver goes into the molten zinc layer, leaving little silver in the molten lead layer. Because the distribution coefficient of silver between zinc and lead is 300 at 880 degrees Celsius. Zinc containing silver form the upper layer, thus by repeating the process, almost total quantity of silver can be extracted from the existing ferrous lead. In the determination of a degree of hydrolysis, let us first study some terms and expressions related to salt hydrolysis. Hydrolysis constant, the general equation for the hydrolysis of salt may be written as Ba plus H2 at equilibrium Ha plus BOH. Apply the law of chemical equilibrium, we get concentration of Ha into concentration of BOH upon my concentration Ba into concentration H2 is equal to K, equilibrium constant. Since water is present in very large excess in the aqueous solution, its concentration of H2O may be regarded as constant, so that we have concentration Ha into concentration BOH upon my concentration of Ba is equal to KH. KH is called the hydrolysis constant. Since concentration Ha and concentration BOH represent the molar concentration of a free acid and a free base product, and Ba represent the molar concentration of unhydrolyzed salt, the above expression for the hydrolysis constant may be written in more general way as KH is equal to free acid concentration of free base upon my concentration of unhydrolyzed salt. Degree of hydrolysis. The degree of hydrolysis of a salt is defined as the factor of percentage of this total salt which is hydrolyzed. For example, if in a solution of aniline hydrochloride 90% of salt is hydrolyzed into aniline and hydrochloric acid, the degree of hydrolysis is 0.90 or may be expressed as percentage wise 90%. It is usually represented by the symbol H. H is equal to number of moles of the salt hydrolyzed, total number of moles of the salt taken. Expression for the degree of hydrolysis for solution, different type of salt. As a salt of strong acid and base do not undergo hydrolysis, therefore the salt of KH or H such salt is meaningless. The cases of the other three types of salt are discussed below. Salt of weak acid and strong base. Representing salt of Ba as usually the hydrolysis may be represented as follow. Ba plus H2 at equilibrium BOH plus HA. So A negative plus H2O at equilibrium OH negative plus HA. In case of anion hydrolysis, for the original concentration of salt in the solution is C moles per liter and H is the degree of hydrolysis at the concentration, then we have A negative plus H2O at equilibrium OH negative plus HA. Original concentration C 0, molar concentration at equilibrium C 1 minus H CH. The hydrolysis constant Kh is equal to Ch का square upon में 1 minus H. H is a very small as compared to 1. We can take 1 minus H is equal to 1, approximately is equal to 1, so that the above expression becomes Ch का square at approximately is equal to Kh. So H approximately is equal to root Kh upon C. At directly proportional root 1 upon C. The degree of hydrolysis of salt of weak acid and strong base is inversely proportional to the square of the molecular concentration. Salt of strong acid and weak base. For such a salt Ba, the hydrolysis may be represented as Ba plus में H2 at equilibrium BOH plus में HA. B positive plus H2O at equilibrium BOH plus H positive. In case of cation hydrolysis preceded at earlier cases, we get same relationship H approximately approximate is equal to root kh upon c. Salt of weak acid and weak base. Representing the salt of by Ba as before, we have Ba plus H2 at equilibrium, BOH plus HA, B plus A negative plus H2O at equilibrium, BOH plus HA. It involves both anion hydrolysis as well as cation hydrolysis. Then in case KH is equal to H ka square upon 1 minus H ka square. The relationship between KH and H does not involve C. Thus, the degree of hydrolysis of such a salt is independent of the concentration of solution. If H is very small in compared to 1, we can take 1 minus H approximately is equal to 1. So that equation KH is equal to H ka square. H approximate is equal to root KH. Determination of degree of hydrolysis by the application of distribution law. Suppose it is required to determine the degree of hydrolysis of aniline hydrochlorides, which is salt of weak base aniline and strong acid HCl. The method consists of two steps. Determination of the hydrolysis constant. Aniline hydrolysis is hydrolyzed as the hydrolysis constant will therefore be given by KH is equal to concentration of free aniline into free HCl acid upon concentration unhydrolyzed salt. Thus, to get the value of KH, the aim is to find the molar concentration of free aniline, the free HCl acid, and the unhydrolyzed salt in an aqueous solution of aniline hydrochloride. This is done by the second aqueous solution of aniline hydrochloride of known concentration with benzene. As a result, the free aniline distributes itself between the two solvents, water and benzene, where HCl acid and the unhydrolyzed salt remain in the aqueous layer only as shown. A calculation of concentration of free aniline in aqueous layer. For the purpose, the concentration of aniline present in benzene layer is found by the taking in no volumes of this layer. Evaporation the benzene and finding weight of aniline left. Having know the concentration of aniline in benzene, the layer that the aqueous layer can be calculated if the distribution coefficient of aniline between water and benzene is known, which can be found by the separating experiment. Calculation of concentration of free HCl produced. From the hydrolysis equation, number of moles of HCl produced is equal to total number of moles of aniline produced. But total amount of aniline produced is equal to amount of aniline present in the benzene layer plus amount of aniline present in the aqueous layer. Each of these amount of has already been calculated in step A above. Hence, the total number of moles of aniline produced and hence free HCl produced can be calculated. Knowing the volume of aqueous layer, the concentration of free HCl in aqueous layer can be calculated. Calculations of the concentration of the unhydrolyzed salt. From the hydrolysis equation, it clear the number of moles of the salt hydrolyzed is equal to total number of moles of aniline produced or free HCl produced, which has already been calculated in step B above. Hence, knowing the initial number of moles of salt taken, the number of moles of the salt left unhydrolyzed can be calculated. Further, knowing the volume of the aqueous layer, the concentration of unhydrolyzed salt can be calculated. Calculation of the degree of hydrolysis. Knowing the hydrolysis constant KH, the degree of hydrolysis of solutions of aniline hydrochloride having concentration C moles per liter can be calculated directly from the expression H is equal to KH upon C. And thank you very much.